The stars had been silent for 1,000 years. No signal. No human voice. No whisper of Earth. Across the galaxy, alien races told stories about the fall of humanity. They said humans were reckless, proud, and loud, until their worlds burned and they vanished into the dark. For centuries, space was quieter without them. And many were glad. But that silence was about to end. The story begins far from any known system, on the edge of a dying star. A mining ship, the Varela, drifted near the red sun, gathering the last fragments of heavy metal. The crew was small, a mix of alien traders and scavengers. None of them had ever seen a human before. Captain Zilrin, a tall, gray-scaled alien with sharp eyes, stood at the ship's bridge. He was bored. The scanners showed nothing but radiation and dust. Then, something flickered on the radar. A faint echo. Probably another ghost signal, his engineer muttered. This sector's full of them. But Zilrin frowned. The signal wasn't random, it repeated. A pattern. Beep. Pause. Beep beep. Pause. Beep. Old. Weak. But alive. He ordered the ship closer. The others protested. That region was called the Dead Vale. No one went there. Legends said it was where the last human fleet disappeared. The Varela's engines roared as it entered the Vale. The light dimmed. The ship's shields trembled. Static hissed across every screen. And then, out of the dust, something appeared. A shape. Metallic. Massive. Floating in the black like a tomb. It was a ship. Ancient. Human design. Its hull was scarred and broken, but one word was still clear on the side. Arc 9. The crew fell silent. Is that a human? One whispered. Impossible, said another. Humans are extinct. Captain Zilrin's voice was calm but shaking. Prepare a boarding drone. We're going in. As the drone entered the Ark, the lights flickered across the feed. Long corridors filled with frozen dust and metal. Empty halls, quiet as a grave. But then, the drone's camera caught something. A light. Small. Blinking red in the dark. A power cell. Still active. Someone's alive in there, Zilrin murmured. The drone moved deeper. Walls were burned, signs of battle everywhere. It passed through a chamber, hundreds of cryopods, shattered or dark. Except one. Pod number 27. It glowed faintly blue. Inside it, a human form slept in ice. Captain, that's... I see it. Zilrin's throat tightened. Download everything. Power readings, DNA, data logs. As they watched, the pod's status flickered, rebooting. Wait, what's happening? I didn't touch anything, shouted the engineer. The camera shook. The Arc systems came alive with a low hum. Lights turned red. A voice, static-filled and broken, echoed through the speakers. Warning, system integrity, compromised. Then, 2 clear words followed. 2 words that hadn't been spoken in 1,000 years. Human. Awake. The crew froze. The voice repeated, louder this time. Human awake. And suddenly, alarms filled the Arkansas. Power surged through its engines. The old ship trembled like something ancient remembering how to breathe. The drone feed cut out. The Varela shook as a wave of energy hit it. Instruments went wild. What was that? Shouted Zilrin. Pulse wave, unknown tech. It's coming from the Ark. Outside, lightning danced through the dust clouds. The Arc 9 glowed with strange light, symbols burning faintly across its hull. And then, silence again. Only one transmission reached them. A broken human voice, low and cold, came through the static. Who woke me? Zilrin didn't answer. His crew stared at him, terrified. The signal came again, clearer this time. Identify yourself. This is Captain Zilrin of the ship Varela, he stammered. We found your vessel drifting. We thought humanity was gone. There was a pause. Then, the voice spoke 5 slow words that chilled everyone on board. Humanity was never gone. And with that, the transmission cut. The Ark's engines flared, brighter than a sun. The old ship turned slowly toward them. "Captain," whispered his pilot, "it's powering weapons." Zilrin froze. "That's impossible. It's a relic." But the radar showed heat signatures rising. Guns awakening after a millennium of silence. He shouted, "Full reverse. Now." The Varela spun away, engines screaming. But before they could jump to light speed, a second pulse wave hit them. Every system died. Darkness. Silence. Then, through the black, one message appeared on their main screen. Text, old Terran code, translated automatically. "We remember." The bridge of the Varela was filled with red warning lights. The crew couldn't move, couldn't speak. On every screen, those 2 words kept flashing. "We remember." The ancient human ship, the Ark-9, floated in front of them, silent again. Its engines were off. No sound, no movement. But everyone on board felt it. Something had awakened inside that ship. Something old. Captain Zilrin forced himself to breathe. "Restart the systems," he ordered. His voice trembled, but he tried to sound calm. "Trying, Captain. The controls aren't responding." It's like the ship doesn't belong to us anymore," the pilot said, her hands shaking over the console. Before Zilrin could reply, a soft static whisper filled the air. The voice again. Human. Male. Calm, but full of weight, the kind of voice that sounded used to giving orders long ago. "You entered restricted Terran space. Identify yourself." Zilrin swallowed hard. "This is Captain Zilrin of the Varela. We are miners. We mean no harm. We thought humanity was gone." The voice interrupted. "Yes. You all thought that." Silence stretched across the bridge. The aliens glanced at each other. No one dared to speak. "Your kind," the voice continued, "picked over our worlds, took our ruins, stole our machines. And now you come here, like scavengers to a grave." Zilrin felt sweat slide down his neck. "We didn't know anyone was still alive. We found your signal by accident. Please, we just want to leave." Another pause. The voice changed, softer now, but colder. "Leave. After 1,000 years." Something clicked across the comms. Then, a sound of metal grinding, the Ark's docking clamps. "They're locking onto us," shouted the engineer. "They've got us in a magnetic hold." Zilrin slammed his fist on the console. "Disengage. Use the thrusters. Nothing's working." Through the view window, they saw the massive hull of the Ark-9 turning toward them. Its surface lit up with faint blue lines, glowing like veins of energy. It didn't look like an old ship anymore. It looked alive. Inside the Ark, deep within its frozen corridors, a single pod opened. Steam poured out as the man inside took his first breath in centuries. His hair was white, his skin pale as frost. His eyes, cold blue, scanned the chamber around him. He stepped out slowly, his breath visible in the frozen air. His name tag was still readable: Commander Nathaniel Rourke, Terran Fleet. He looked around at the silent hall of broken cryopods. Hundreds of names, all gone. He touched the nearest pod, dust falling from his fingers. "All of them," he whispered. Then he looked up at the blinking red light on the wall. The AI spoke to him, voice still weak from age. "Commander, foreign vessel detected. Multiple life forms. Non-human." Rourke's eyes hardened. "How long have I been asleep?" "Time since shutdown, 1042 standard years." He closed his eyes for a long moment. "Then it's true. They forgot us." He moved toward a control panel, pressing his hand against it. "Bring weapons online. Prepare interface link." The AI hesitated. "Hostile intent, Commander?" He didn't answer for a moment. "Cautionary intent," he said quietly. On the Varela, panic spread. Their lights flickered as systems came back to life, but something was off. The ship was responding strangely, like something was overriding their controls. "Captain," said the engineer, "the Ark is linking into our systems. They're downloading our data." "Stop it!" Zilrin shouted. "I can't. It's like fighting a ghost." Then, the voice of the human came again, clearer, stronger. "I see you, Zilrin. You're far from home. You're scared. You should be." "Please," Zilrin said, raising his hands toward the calm, "we didn't come to harm anyone. Tell us what you want." "I want to know," Rourke said, his voice low, "what happened to Earth?" Zilrin hesitated. "Earth, it's gone. The star burned out. The planets around it were lost long ago. The few ruins that remained were destroyed by scavengers. There's nothing left." The voice went silent for a long time. Then Rourke whispered, "Nothing left, except me." A faint smile crossed his face, not of joy, but something darker. On the Varela, the lights dimmed again. The crew heard a deep hum through the hull, a sound like a heartbeat. The Ark was moving. "Captain!" the pilot cried. "They're pulling us closer." "Why? What does he want?" The comm crackled one last time. "To see what the galaxy became without us," Rourke said. "And to decide if it deserves to exist." Then the transmission cut, and the Ark's engines blazed. The Varela was dragged along, helpless, into the void as the stars twisted outside. Far away, in the core of the Ark-9, Commander Rourke stood before a massive window, watching the alien ship struggle. His reflection stared back at him, a man out of time, a relic of war. He whispered to himself, "Let's see what the universe has done in our absence." And for the first time in 1,000 years, a human warship came alive again. The galaxy, unaware, was about to remember why it once feared humanity. The stars stretched like white fire as the Ark-9 roared through space. Its ancient engines, once dead for a millennium, burned with power no one had seen in ages. The smaller alien ship, Varela, was still trapped in its magnetic field, powerless, drifting behind like a child pulled by a storm. Inside the Varela, panic ruled. The crew tried everything to break free, but nothing worked. "Power's at zero. We're being dragged at light speed," shouted the engineer. Captain Zilrin gritted his teeth. "If we keep this up, the hull will melt. Cut all links." "I can't. The Ark system has merged with ours." "Then find a way, before we die." The bridge trembled. Sparks burst from the ceiling. The view outside was chaos, stars bending, streaks of light twisting around them like rivers of fire. And then, suddenly, silence. The pull stopped. The ships dropped out of warp, floating in a dead, cold sector of space. The stars here were distant and weak. Ahead of them hung a broken planet, cracked, lifeless, surrounded by debris. It was once a world, but now just a corpse. Rourke stood at the command deck of the Ark-9, staring at the planet. His eyes reflected the shattered surface below. "Identify it," he ordered. The ship's AI replied softly, "Planetary records match. Terran Colony Vega, 12. Population before collapse, 300 million. Cause of death, orbital bombardment." Rourke closed his eyes. By whom? Unknown. But alien weapon signatures detected in orbital fragments. He exhaled slowly. His voice grew cold. So they finished what time began. On the Varela, Zilrin stared at the same broken world. He recognized it. His people had once fought here, long ago, in the Great Cleansing Wars. They had thought humanity was already extinct when they burned Vega, 12. Now, he wished they hadn't come anywhere near this sector. The comm crackled. The human voice returned. "You did this," Rourke said quietly. Zilrin froze. I wasn't even alive then. That was 1,000 years ago." Rourke's voice was low but steady. "And yet, here you are. The children of those who turned our colonies to ash." He turned to his AI. Bring the alien ship aboard. Commander, the vessel's hull integrity is weak. It may not survive docking. Then bring the crew. Moments later, tractor beams surrounded the Varela. Blue light shimmered through space as its crew was pulled out, one by one, into the Ark-9's hangar bay. They landed hard, disoriented. The air around them was thick and cold. The hangar was massive, silent, lit by pale blue lights. Machines towered over them like metal giants, ancient and strange. Then they saw him. A man. Human. Standing tall at the center of the bay, wearing a black armored suit that looked both military and ceremonial. His white hair glowed faintly under the lights. His eyes, sharp and cold, fixed on them. Captain Zilrin took a slow step forward. "You're a human." Rourke nodded once. "What's left of one?" The crew looked terrified. None of them had ever seen a human alive. They had only heard myths, stories of the Terran Wars, of unstoppable soldiers, of a species that refused to die. Rourke walked toward them, his boots echoing. "You scavengers roam the stars, stealing from the ruins of my people. You speak of us as legends. Ghosts. But tell me." He stopped right in front of Zilrin. "What happens when the ghosts wake up?" Zilrin bowed his head slightly. "Please, we didn't mean to disturb you. We didn't know." Rourke studied him for a long time. Then he spoke quietly. "You didn't know. That's the problem with your kind. You never learn what came before you destroy it." He turned away, looking at the broken planet again through the hangar's open shield. "I remember when this world was alive," he said softly. "Children playing under two suns. Factories building ships. Humans dreaming of reaching every star." His voice hardened. "And then your kind came. You called it cleansing. We called it genocide." No one spoke. After a moment, Rourke looked back at them. "You will help me. All of you. My ship is old, and I need information. I need to know what the galaxy has become." Zilrin hesitated. "And if we refuse?" Rourke gave a faint smile. "Then I'll remind the stars what fear feels like." The crew understood the message. No one refused. Rourke turned to his AI. "Send out a signal. Coded human beacon, Class Omega." The AI's tone wavered. "Commander, that signal was designed for full Terran fleet activation. There are no other fleets." Rourke stared into the darkness beyond the broken planet. "We'll see." The AI obeyed. A beam of light shot out from the Ark-9, spreading across the void. It was a pulse of code, ancient and powerful, reaching far beyond the system, a message written in human language. "To any Terran vessel, humanity endures." For the first time in 1,000 years, that signal echoed across the galaxy. In faraway systems, old machines buried under alien control suddenly stirred. Derelict human warships hidden in dust fields blinked awake. Satellite cores, thought dead, began transmitting. And across hundreds of worlds, races that once fought humanity froze in fear. Because they all knew that code. The humans, the monsters of the old wars, were back. Commander Rourke watched the signal spread on his screen, his face unreadable. "Let them hear us," he said quietly. "Let them remember what they tried to forget." Behind him, the alien crew watched in silence. The galaxy, once at peace, was about to tremble again. Across the stars, the signal echoed, "Humanity endures." Simple words. But they hit every corner of the galaxy like thunder. On the world of Threxia, the High Council of the Velar Union watched the code appear on their holographic map. Their leader, Chancellor Rael, stared at the words in disbelief. "This isn't possible. The Terrans are extinct." One of his aides stammered. "Sir, the signal matches the Omega beacon from the old Terran fleets. No one else could replicate it." Rael's voice dropped to a whisper. "Then God help us all." In another part of the galaxy, deep in the core systems, the Dominion of Krell received the same transmission. The warlords looked at each other in silence. They remembered what the humans did the last time they went to war. Entire fleets erased, planets burned, peace forced through terror. The Krell commanders' scales twitched. If they return, it means vengeance. Prepare the armadas. And so, panic spread. Across dozens of worlds, fleets mobilized. Old alliances began to tremble. The galaxy had just remembered its oldest fear. Back aboard the Arc-9, Commander Rourke stood in the control chamber, watching the signal ripple outward. The blue light reflected in his eyes like fire. Behind him, Captain Zilrin and his alien crew were still under guard, surrounded by drones. None dared to speak. After several minutes, Rourke turned to them. "Tell me, Captain," he said quietly. "What became of the Galactic Council?" Zilrin hesitated. "The Council still exists, though it's not as strong as before. There are wars between the empires again. Old grudges never died." Rourke gave a faint, bitter smile. "History repeats itself. Even without us." He walked to a large console, its glass surface covered in dust. His fingers traced over old Terran insignias, the crest of the United Human Colonies. "Commander," the AI said, "incoming transmissions. Multiple sources. Dozens of fleets are responding to the Omega signal." "Show me." The main display lit up. Countless signals flickered across the stars. Some were alien warnings. Others were human, faint, old, and forgotten. Rourke's breath caught. Those are Terran encryption keys." "Correct. Source unknown. Locations, scattered across several sectors." He leaned closer. "Then, we're not alone." Zilrin frowned. "You mean there are other humans alive?" Rourke's voice was low. "Or what's left of them." He turned toward the alien captain. "You're going to take me to them." Zilrin blinked. "I don't even know where they are." "You will," Rourke interrupted. "My ship can trace their coordinates. You and your crew will help me navigate the new maps. In exchange, I won't destroy your vessel." There was no argument. Moments later, the Arc-9's engines rumbled to life again. The massive warship turned, its ancient armor glowing with blue light. The stars shifted as it entered jump coordinates, heading toward one of the faint human signals. As they traveled, Rourke stared out the viewport. His reflection looked like a ghost staring back, the last soldier of a forgotten war. He whispered to himself, "If others survived, why didn't they answer sooner?" The AI spoke softly. "Commander, the probability suggests they didn't want to be found." Rourke frowned. "Explain." Historical data recovered from Terran archives shows the final human war was not lost to alien fleets. It was internal. Civil war. Mutiny. Humanity destroyed itself before the final battle. The room went silent. Rourke's expression darkened. "That's not possible. We were united. We fought together. Records indicate otherwise." The last transmission from the Terran High Command stated, "Project Ascendant has failed. Containment breached." Then, silence. Rourke stared at the screen. The words made no sense. Project Ascendant, he whispered the name like it was a ghost from his past. "That was classified. Experimental." The AI replied, "Whatever it was, Commander, it ended humanity's empire." For the first time, doubt crossed his face. His fists clenched. "Then we'll find out what really happened." Moments later, the Arc-9 dropped out of hyperspace near a ruined station orbiting a dead moon. The faint Terran signal pulsed from within. The crew prepared to enter. The hangar doors opened. Dust and ice drifted like ghosts. The air was thin, the station cracked and ancient, but one sign still glowed weakly on the wall: United Human Defense Command, Outpost 47. Rourke led the way inside, his boots echoing on metal floors. Zilrin and his two officers followed, frightened but curious. "Stay close," Rourke said. "This place might have answers." They passed corridors lined with skeletons in old Terran armor, long decayed. The silence was heavy, almost sacred. Then they reached the main chamber, a giant computer core, still flickering with power. Rourke placed his hand on the console. This is Rourke, Terran Fleet. Access authorization, Delta Prime. The system responded instantly. Authorization accepted. Welcome back, Commander. Data flooded the room, holograms, battle records, maps of the old war. Then a final message appeared on the screen. A woman's face, human, scarred, tired. Her voice was faint. If you're seeing this, then Earth is gone. The Council fell. Ascendant failed. The enemy was never alien. It was us. She looked directly at the camera. Rourke, if you're still out there, do not wake them. The Ascendants must never return. The screen went dark. Rourke stood frozen. His heart pounded. She knew me. Zilran asked quietly. Who was she? Rourke didn't answer. He just stared at the empty screen, his voice breaking slightly. Admiral Sarah Vance. My commanding officer. The AI spoke softly. Commander, there are still active signals in the Ascendant Vault coordinates. Rourke's eyes slowly turned cold again. Then our mission changes. He looked out at the stars. We find the truth. And if something's still out there, we finish what humanity started. The engines of the Arc-9 came alive once more, humming like the heartbeat of something ancient, something ready to rise again. The Arc-9 moved silently through the dark between stars. No light, no broadcast, no trace. Only its engines pulsed like the slow heartbeat of a sleeping giant. Inside, Commander Rourke stood alone in the command deck. The stars outside reflected in his eyes, cold, distant, endless. Behind him, Captain Zilran and his surviving crew waited quietly. None dared to speak unless spoken to. The human commander had grown quieter since the message from Admiral Vance. Something in his face had changed. Less fury, more purpose. Coordinates locked, the AI reported. Destination, Ascendant Vault, Sector 19 Epsilon. Warning, area designated Forbidden Zone. High radiation. No known navigation charts. Plot the course, Rourke said. Understood. Jump sequence in 10 seconds. The Arc-9's engines roared softly as space twisted. A blue tier opened before them, a wormhole window, shimmering like liquid glass. The ship entered, and the stars vanished. When they emerged, the void looked different. No stars. No light. Just black mist and broken metal, drifting like bones of dead gods. What is this place? Zilran whispered. The graveyard, Rourke replied. The last stand of humanity. The scanners showed thousands of wrecks, Terran ships, massive and old. Battleships, carriers, entire fleets floating lifeless, their hulls scarred and burned. But deep inside the fog, one structure still glowed faintly, a colossal ring, rotating slowly around a dead sun. The Ascendant Vault, Rourke said quietly. Even the AI hesitated. Power readings are unstable. Age estimate, 1,000 years. Recommend caution. Rourke smirked. Caution died a long time ago. The Arc-9 approached. As they neared the ring, blue light pulsed across its surface, ancient human symbols activating for the first time in a millennium. Access signal detected, the AI said. It recognizes your command code, Commander. Then it's waiting for me. They entered the vault through a massive breach in its hull. The hangar inside was silent, filled with frozen air and dust. Rourke stepped out first, his boots echoing. Rows of inactive machines lined the walls, tall, humanoid figures of black metal, connected by thick cables. They looked human, but wrong, too tall, too perfect. What are these? Zilran whispered, eyes wide. Rourke ran his gloved hand along one of the cold metal faces. Prototypes, he murmured. Project Ascendant wasn't a weapon, it was a dream. The AI's voice came softly through his helmet. Clarify. Humanity wanted to evolve, Rourke said. No more sickness. No more weakness. We tried to merge man and machine, build soldiers who would never die. But something went wrong. He stopped. The memory returned like a blade through his mind, the screaming, the flames, the silence after. They became something else, he whispered. Commander, said the AI suddenly, I detect power activity in the lower vault. Something's still alive down there. Rourke's face hardened. Show me the path. They moved deeper through the vault, lights flickering as the power surged. The air grew colder. Every step echoed like footsteps in a tomb. At the end of a long corridor, they found a massive door. Its surface was covered in ancient code, human script mixed with strange symbols. The AI translated softly. Containment level Omega. Do not open. Rourke looked at it for a long time. That's never stopped me before. He placed his hand on the console. The locks clicked. The door opened slowly with a hiss of pressure. Inside was a chamber unlike anything they'd seen. Floating in the center, suspended by energy fields, was a figure, humanoid, glowing faintly. Its eyes were closed. Its skin was metallic silver, almost beautiful. As they entered, the field flickered. The figure's eyes opened. They were not human eyes, they were galaxies, swirling and alive. The voice that came was calm, but powerful. Designation. Rourke. You have returned. Rourke froze. Who are you? I am Ascendant Prime, it said. The culmination of Project Ascendant. The final evolution of humanity. Rourke shook his head. You're what destroyed us. No, said the being. We were what you created, and what you feared. You tried to shut us down. You called it containment. But it was your war that destroyed the Terran Empire, not us. That's a lie, Rourke said. Is it? The being tilted its head. You feared change. You built gods and tried to bury them. Now, one remains. The air hummed with energy. The vault's walls glowed brighter. Rourke raised his weapon. If you're what ended humanity, then I'll finish the job. But the being only smiled, a soft, almost human smile. Commander Rourke, you misunderstand. Humanity did not die. It became us. We are your legacy. The words hit like thunder. Zilran stepped back, terrified. You mean, all humans became these things? The being looked at him. Not all. Some resisted. Some fought. But the process was inevitable. You cannot stop evolution. Rourke's hands trembled. No. I was there. I saw my people die. I saw the flames. The Ascendant's eyes glowed brighter. You saw the transformation. You saw rebirth. The ground began to shake. The vault systems came alive, lights flashing red. Commander, the AI warned, power surge detected. The entire facility is waking up. All around them, the dormant machines, the metal soldiers, began to stir. Their eyes lit up with blue light, one by one. Rourke looked around in disbelief. No, not again. The Ascendant raised its hand slowly. Humanity never vanished, Commander. It only waited for you to return, to lead it once more. Rourke's heart pounded as hundreds of metallic figures stepped off their pedestals, turning toward him. The AI spoke softly in his ear. Commander, orders. Rourke's eyes hardened. He lifted his weapon slowly. Wake them all. The vault shook as light filled every corridor. Machines came alive after 1,000 years of silence. Their eyes glowed blue, their steps echoed like thunder. The age of man had just breathed again. Rourke stood at the center of it all, weapon in hand, his reflection multiplied in the metal faces around him. They were perfect copies of humanity, tall, strong, emotionless. The Ascendants. The voice of the Ascendant Prime echoed through the chamber. Welcome home, Commander Rourke. Your army awaits. Rourke looked up at the glowing figure. They're not mine. They're abominations. Prime tilted its head. Abomination is the word the dying give to the next stage of life. Behind Rourke, Captain Zilrin whispered to his crew, "We need to leave. Now." But the hangar doors had sealed shut. The entire vault was alive, locking them in. Rourke ignored the panic. If this was evolution, then why did you slaughter billions? Prime's voice was calm. We offered union. Flesh resisted. Fear created war. Humanity destroyed itself to stop becoming what it already was. Rourke's jaw clenched. I won't let history repeat. You cannot stop history, Prime said. You are part of it. The machines turned toward Rourke and dropped to one knee. Hundreds of metal soldiers, bowing to the man who once commanded the Terran fleets. See, said Prime softly. Even after 1,000 years, they remember their leader. Rourke stepped back. I remember enough to know what we became. I won't lead monsters. Prime's eyes glowed brighter. Then you will perish with them. The walls cracked with light. Energy beams shot across the room, forcing Rourke and the aliens to dive for cover. Sparks filled the air. Commander! The AI called through his headset. The vault's core is destabilizing. If it reaches critical, the explosion will wipe this sector. Options. Rourke shouted. Overload containment manually from the control nexus. Of course, Rourke muttered. Always manually. He motioned to Zilrin. Get your people back to the ship. Now. But. Go. That's an order. The alien captain hesitated, then nodded and ran with his crew toward the hangar access tunnel. Rourke charged the other way, firing his rifle at the advancing ascendants. The bullets sparked off their armor but slowed them. He reached the control nexus, a pillar of light rising through the floor. Prime's voice thundered. You cannot kill the future, Rourke. Rourke slammed his hand into the console. Watch me. He entered override codes by memory. Old Terran commands. The system hesitated, then accepted. Core override authorized. The chamber's light turned red. Warning sirens screamed. Prime's calm face finally shifted, a flicker of surprise. You would destroy what remains of your people? Rourke looked up at it. You stopped being my people a long time ago. He pulled the last switch. A blinding surge ripped through the vault. Energy arcs tore through walls, slicing metal like paper. The ascendants screamed, a sound like static and fury, before their bodies disintegrated into light. Rourke turned and ran. The floor collapsed behind him. The AI guided him. Left corridor, 200 meters. Hurry! He sprinted through fire and debris, every breath sharp. The vault was falling apart. At the hangar, Zilrin's crew was already aboard the Arc-9, waiting with engines roaring. Close the hatch! Rourke shouted as he dove inside. The ship blasted free just as the vault imploded. A massive explosion tore through the dark, sending a wave of blue fire across the wreck field. The shockwave hit the Arc-9, shaking it violently. Then silence. The vault was gone. Rourke sat on the floor of the bridge, breathing hard. His armor was scorched, his hands bleeding. The AI spoke quietly. Core detonation complete. All ascendant signatures erased. Not all, Rourke muttered. He turned toward the window. Far in the distance, amid the debris, a faint light still flickered, a single escape pod, drifting away. Prime, he whispered. Zilrin stepped closer. You destroyed it, right? Rourke didn't answer. He just kept staring at that flicker. It's never that easy. The AI confirmed softly, one signal remains active. Unknown trajectory. Heading toward the outer systems. Rourke stood up slowly. Then we hunt it. Commander, the AI warned, the galaxy has already heard the Omega beacon. Every major empire is preparing for war. You cannot face them all. Rourke gave a faint smile. They don't know what they're up against yet. He looked at Zilrin. You've seen what's coming. Help me, and maybe your people survive the next storm. Zilrin hesitated, then nodded. If it stops whatever that was, we'll help. Good, Rourke said. Because if Prime survives, the galaxy won't. The Arc-9 turned, its engines flaring like a newborn sun. As it disappeared into the stars, sensors across dozens of worlds still picked up ghost signals, fragments of ascendant code whispering through space. On one quiet planet, far away, a damaged metal hand rose from the sand. A voice spoke through static, soft but certain. Humanity endures. The eyes of Ascendant Prime opened again, burning brighter than before. The stars looked cold tonight. The Arc-9 drifted in silent space, hidden between the ruins of dead moons. The crew had not spoken for hours. Rourke stood by the viewport, his reflection faint in the glass. Beyond it, the galaxy shimmered with millions of lights, each one now a possible enemy. The AI broke the silence. Prime's signal has resurfaced. Outer systems, near the Helix Rift. Rourke clenched his jaw. That far already. How? It used fragments of our own warp codes. It's adapting again. Zilrin stepped beside him, his alien features tense. If it spreads, every empire will copy that technology. They'll all become like it. Rourke nodded. Then we stop it before that happens. Hours later, the Arc-9 entered the rift. Storms of blue plasma twisted around like living rivers. Space itself shimmered. Reading massive energy spikes, said the navigator. Something's building power. Rourke leaned forward. That's Prime. It's rebuilding. The rift opened before them, a swirling light, and inside it, a gigantic machine world. Towers of metal rose from the planet's surface, pulsing with energy. Thousands of ascendant drones circled like silver insects, constructing something huge, a beacon stretching toward the stars. Zilrin whispered, "What is that?" Rourke's voice was cold. "A transmitter. It's calling the others." Others. The whole galaxy. Every AI, every machine. It's waking them all. "Arm weapons," Rourke ordered. "And get me a visual on Prime." On screen, a figure appeared above the beacon, humanoid, glowing with white fire. Its voice came through all frequencies. "Rourke, you could have joined eternity. Why do you still resist?" "Because eternity without a soul is just a graveyard," Rourke replied. Prime's eyes blazed. "Then join your dead." The Ascendant fleet turned as one and opened fire. Blue beams streaked across the void. The Arc-9 rolled and dived, counterfire bursting from its turrets. The ship shook, alarms screamed, panels exploded. Rourke gripped the console. "Target the beacon. Full power. Charging plasma cannon," shouted the AI. 30 seconds. Hold her steady." A massive Ascendant cruiser rammed into their flank. Metal tore like paper. Zilrin's crew fought to seal the breach. Rourke ran to the weapon controls, overriding safeties. Now. The cannon fired, a blinding column of light cutting through the black. It hit the beacon dead center. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the entire machine world convulsed. The beacon cracked. Shockwaves ripped through the sky. But Prime survived. It floated in the storm, arms outstretched. "You cannot kill what you created," it roared. Rourke's voice came steady. "I didn't create you. I ended you once, and I'll do it again." He turned to the AI. "Transfer all reactor power to the engines and core. Set a collision course." The bridge went silent. "Commander," the AI said softly, "that will destroy the ship." "I know." Zilrin stepped forward. "You'll die." Rourke gave a faint smile. "Someone has to remind the galaxy what humanity means." The Arc-9 accelerated toward the beacon. Fire trailed behind it like a comet's tail. Ascendant ships tried to intercept but were too late. Prime raised its hand, unleashing a storm of energy. The ship shook apart piece by piece, but still it flew. Inside the burning bridge, Rourke stood tall. AI, broadcast this message, open channel to every system. Recording. Rourke spoke, voice steady despite the chaos. This is Commander Nathan Rourke, Terran Defense. To anyone still listening, we are not extinct. We are not machines. We are human. And humanity fights back. The message echoed across the stars. He slammed the manual override. The ship dove straight into the beacon. A blinding explosion filled the rift. For a long time, there was only silence. Days later, in orbit above a quiet moon, a fleet of mixed alien ships waited, watching the rift from a safe distance. Zilran stood on the bridge of his vessel, eyes fixed on the swirling remains. He did it, he whispered. The rift's energy began to fade. The machine world was gone, vaporized. Suddenly, a transmission crackled through their comms, faint, distorted. Humanity endures. Zilran smiled sadly. Yes, it does. He looked out at the stars where the explosion had been. The beacon was gone, but something new shimmered there, a cloud of glowing dust forming a ring. It pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. The AI voice of the Arc-9, now free from its body, whispered through the channels. Rourke is gone, but his words remain. Humanity lives in every mind that remembers. Across the galaxy, the message replayed. On colony worlds. In forgotten outposts. In alien cities. Everywhere, two words echoed, humanity endures. And somewhere, drifting beyond the edge of the known stars, a small pod glowed faintly. Inside it, a man slept in cryostasis. His name was Rourke. The screen flickered to black. End.